It started in I guess 2003. It was with my husband Manuel Montero, myself, and we were actually working on 5 different companies at the same time. My husband had just come off a project, a big project, but the internet bubble had burst, and he was then approached during that time. It was the selling things online in Spanish. It was the first company online in Spanish. From there, he had met a gentleman that wanted to partner with this company called Fiera.com as a payment, an exclusive payment system that would help Latin Americans be able to buy from America, because this gentleman that approached him, his name's Adrian Newhauser, was in Chile at the time, in Santiago, and he wanted to buy a computer part, and he couldn't. And he had an American Express card and everything. They wouldn't accept it, this computer store in California. So that's how he started it, and he got some venture money, and then when Fiera got sold and Manuel was available, he approached Manuel to see if he'd like to be the CEO of this company. And they started on it with venture-backed money. And unfortunately, the VC, backed out, didn't want to fund it anymore. And there's Adrian and Manuel left holding a great concept, but didn't have the money for it. So Adrian had moved to Miami, and the two of them started working on it for a few months, and then I joined. And we got a little office just over there, and the 3 of us started the company in 2003, incorporated the name SafeTPay, because we couldn't get the domain name of the name it is right now. And we were still working on our other projects, but we just had 5 of these things going, and finally, I mean, we were in music, film, export, import, construction. We had all sorts of different companies we were doing together. And one by one, they kept falling off. You know, they weren't working, like the exchange rate went out of our favor, or the, let's say, the music industry got hit hard with the iTunes. All right, all these things just start dropping off, and then little SafeTPay was still staying up there. And all of a sudden, we just put our attention into it and started in this apartment. And then all of a sudden, we just kept going, and it was like a little cork in the ocean. It just kept, people loved the idea, but it was a little too early, you know. And then all of a sudden, we got some money put into it, and it kept growing. And then finally, we went, we got this, the IT section, all our technology, up to speed. We had the platform, 2 guys we hired that are still here, Antonio and Roberto. And next thing we know, we were beta testing in Peru. And the reason why we got into Peru first is because one of our sales guys was from American Express, and we all came from American Express. I met my husband in American Express, and we had a lot of friends that were coming on board to help us. And this guy's father-in-law happened to be head of a bank. And we said, could you try it? And so he asked his father-in-law to try, and they said yes. So all of a sudden we had a bank. And then when things started going wrong, you know, this guy would call up his father-in-law and say, you know, Papa, you know, let me take you to the soccer game, and I'll take you out to dinner. Please, let's figure this thing out. And so it was all through relationships and just serendipitous type of things. And next thing you know, and that was BBVA. Then all of a sudden, another bank joins in. And once one joins in, the others. And now we have just about, I think, 90% penetration of banks in Peru. Then we went on to Germany and Mexico. And usually because we had a good contact there. And now we're in a lot of countries. And it just kept growing from there. And the premise of how the company works is that we partner with banks. We revenue share with banks. Makes it more attractive. And we can keep our costs down for the merchants. And we also partner with merchants. And that's how we do a lot of our marketing campaigns. We create kind of a triangular effort where the bank will promote to all the customers, which is great for marketing, and the merchant is something that the clients want to purchase from, and then we're the facilitator. So that's how we we've done it in the markets to begin with. And then we, in other cases, our product line has grown, so it's not always through the bank. Sometimes it's a cash model, sometimes it's through the call center. So we've expanded into other product lines, just to accommodate the demand that we have.
So it's not like just like the card, you can do it by call centers or?
Yes, that's just started recently.
Okay.
And some of our biggest clients are airlines. We have one of our biggest clients, Peruvian Airlines. They love us. We, at one point, we were 90% of their online transactions was through us. Now there's, it's shifted, but some of the big clients that we were able to get was Amazon gift cards, Adidas, Groupon is taking off, gaming, that's another thing that's been very popular, and we just keep growing, and then the investors kept coming in, and finally last July we got some major funding from the IFC, it's the International Finance Corporation, which is an arm of World Bank. And that has given us such clout because now other investors are, part of it. Unfortunately, we lost our CEO right after that. So we had a lot of, that's my husband. But I am so proud of the team that came together because we really want to see this vision continue. For some reason, Safety McPay is there to survive, and our hearts are into it. So we really want to see it grow, and it has. It's been doing great. Ivan came in as an intern, and he's just been an awesome friend of Safety Pay on so many levels, and is growing the business by leaps and bounds. It has brought in some major merchants and PSPs, which are payment service providers that help us facilitate more transactions to other merchants, and it's wide open for a lot of creative synergies.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what's happening, and here we are. So.
That's awesome. And why the name Safety Pay, if I can ask?
Oh yeah, that was funny. Well, we were coming up with a name that meant secure payments, but safety kind of involved a lot of things, like more homespun, more safety is more personal. Secure is like bank and finance and a lock or a vault, or so we thought safety was more friendly, but we had an issue with the domain name that we couldn't get it. So we did a play on words with SAF and then a big T and pay, so it was like Safety Pay. But unfortunately, which is kind of funny, we kept getting in trouble with this word in Germany. T-Mobile decided that they own T. And they sued us. And even though we would have won in court, had we had a few $1 million or $100,000 to throw at the legal fees, we just backed down. We didn't have the money at that time to fight them for just Germany. So we changed the accentuation on T and moved it to P, which I didn't like because it looked like the parking symbol, So, and then we became Saft Pay, and that was a problem in Germany again because Saft, our team could not sell it because Saft means dirty dive bar. So we had to switch again, and finally somebody in our sales department found that the domain name had come free, Safety Pay, and we grabbed it. We paid some money for it, but we grabbed it, and then from then on we switched our logo out and have the full name, and it was worth every penny because it's made life a lot easier, and everybody likes the name. And it's a good name because it explains what we are, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
it
more
gives
direct.
like more real credibility and like reliability. I don't know how to say that.
Reliability.
Yeah, to customers.
Yeah.
Instead of people, I don't know, people is just like people.
People
So-
have the great idea of what it means, the company means with the name. It's perfectly related.
Yeah. So why do you think like Safety Pay is like better than PayPal? Like, what's the big difference?
Well,
Because we were researching, and it seems like PayPal is like the biggest competitor.
they are.
Not really.
No, because it's we're in different markets. I mean, the PayPal main market is here in the US. And,
Okay.
Well, the other difference is that PayPal, PayPal got its big start because of eBay. It would never have gotten anywhere are without eBay as a feeder to it. And also, they, at one point, were actually dangerous because they were tapping into, it's a wallet, you know, so they tap into your bank account, and there were some nightmare stories where, you know, some glitch happened, and then all of a sudden, they're tapping out they're just grabbing the money out of your bank account. So that was, and they don't partner with banks. So here we had a real solid partnership with our banks, we revenue share. PayPal is a threat to banks. I mean, I was in a meeting with the American Bankers Association, top level in Washington DC, talking about Safety Pay, which they love, okay? But they wanted to talk about PayPal and what they're doing. They're very threatened by that. And the other thing is PayPal has used some interesting measures. In fact, we were having problems with them. They're threatened by us, no doubt. They were paying our merchants to $30,000 in Mexico to not go with us and go with them, like steal our merchants away and pay them to go with them. And so they don't have a lot of traction in Latin America, and they're putting big bucks into getting that traction. But they are is a facilitator of credit cards now, because people don't trust them with the bank accounts. But they're everywhere.
Right.
You know, they have a system I'd love to do, you know, where you just sign up and you're in. You know.
Yeah, and they
The
keep
bond.
like sending you like annoying like ads all the time, like on the internet. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
use PayPal. I don't know how they're doing with that.
So PayPal, from a consumer perspective, and you would be the consumer, for example, for you would compare it with SafetyPay, but for someone from the industry, which are the banks, the merchants, we're very different, because the payment experience, the checkout process is very different for someone using SafetyPay and for someone using PayPal. It's very different.
Yeah.
In fact, some of our advantages is some of the features that PayPal cannot offer. So we don't have a lot of presence in the US, and PayPal doesn't have a lot of presence in Latin America, which is our biggest region, and that's why for us, PayPal is not even the biggest competitor or the main threat. We have some companies within the market that are bigger competitors than PayPal. PayPal, in fact, is yet to get anywhere big in Latin America compared to what they are in the US. So I would investigate further of payment solutions in the markets that SafetyPay have presence, and I would consider them as a bigger threat. So for me, in what I do in business development and sales, you know, one of the things is to identify, I mean, what do the competition offer compared to what we provide, and PayPal usually does not come as a, so we have a lot of websites that would have Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal, and they would still look for SafetyPay or SafetyPay-like solution for their customers. So I wouldn't consider them as a direct competition, not in the region that we are
Well,
very strong.
we're a niche payment method.
Right.
We solve the issue for certain customers. You know,
Right.
not everybody, for instance, has a bank account in where we are. We provide a cash solution for them. Others don't want to have a credit card. If you don't have a credit card or a bank account, you can't have PayPal.
Yeah, that's
Right?
true.
You can't, and we definitely operate off of the online banking platform, so you have to have an online bank account, but you don't have to have a credit card. And then if you don't have either, we still provide a solution. So it's just filling, you know, it's just like anything. You go in the supermarket and there's something for everybody, and then
Yep.
and things that aren't for
Exactly.
everybody. So we just provide. So I know it's kind of cliche to say. You know, I really don't feel like we have competition. It's not the old
No.
school competition. It's just that we found the area that we're servicing. We found the demand, and we're providing the solution for it.
And one of our main added values, which more relate to the next part of the SWOT analysis, is that our main advantage is the global payments. We facilitate, let's say, you as a Brazilian being able to shop from Macy's, which is a U.S.-based website. For you now, it seems very easy to take your credit card, the U.S. bank credit card, and to shop from another country. It's not the case for Brazilian or typical Peruvian. Actually, for over 70% of them, they're able to take their local credit card and to shop at the local supermarket or at the Brazilian or Peruvian-based website. So like merchant.www.merchant.br or .pe. They are able to shop with those. But if you tell them, okay, now you want to shop with a global or a US-based merchant or a UK-based merchant, their credit card would not be accepted. What we do, we allow the shopper to shop from a merchant which is based in another country in his local currency. So a Brazilian can shop in Brazilian reais and Peruvian in Peruvian soles. And the merchant is now able to expand his reach to more regions or to more customers that are very interested and they have the money to shop in this merchant. But as of now, without Safety Pay, they're unable to do it.
And have you considered Central America for opportunities?
We are already in
there.
Central
We're
America.
there. You're there. In what countries?
Panama, Costa Rica, and we're expanding into Nicaragua.
No, so we're already in Nicaragua,
We're in
Panama, and Costa
Nicaragua,
Rica, and actually today on the call I heard that Honduras, El Salvador.
I'm from
Ah.
Honduras, and
Yeah, I'm
I
from
have,
Honduras.
I have, we're
You
both
too?
from,
Yeah.
yeah.
And,
So we can relate to that because it has happened to us all
Right.
the time. We cannot make life,
course.
it's super
Mhm,
tedious. So I think it's great. It's
Yeah.
great for, especially for, because we understand it because we
You
live
it.
there. Yeah.
you lived it, yeah.
So,
Where
I
are
think-
you from?
Florida.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're the real foreigner here.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala are the next step. We're looking to add those within a couple of months,
That's
maybe
great.
the third quarter.
And as a threat, what do you think it's like your biggest threat as a company?
So I would consider one of the biggest. That obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is competition. There's always competition. In Peru, where we have most of the market share in the alternative payments market, there is a very aggressive competitor that we believe that the action they take are actually hurting them. It's kind of like backfires them, but it is a competition. They're
Yeah.
going, like Barbara said, to our merchants. They offer them money to go with them, not with us. And for our merchant, they go to the banks that we're affiliated with, and they try to do the same. So competition is always the main threat. I also say that volatile conversion rates or foreign exchange rates, that economic conditions. Latin America still hasn't proven to be the most stable region. So any type of war or something like that. For example, that's the reason, or one of the reasons why we would not expand to Venezuela yet,
Yeah, no,
Or
that's
Argentina.
or Argentina, which
Yeah.
both known to be very,
volatile.
very unstable,
Yeah.
very unstable, and also it's just also very hard to get the money out of these countries because of governmental.
The countries we pick are usually
The most stable,
business
the more
friendly.
stable. Yeah, more business open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In our country, Honduras, what people usually use to buy things staying in Honduras from here from the U.S. It's called G-Box Mall, right? They use G-Box Mall. It's near to FedEx, you know. Well, they use a system. It's called G-Box Mall. There's just you just go. There are the computers there. You just order, and the package arrives there to the
Right.
to the place. You
Right.
think for example, Safety Pay, as it gets to Honduras, you can change, like you can affect, for example, G-Box Mall or this
No,
other
I
system.
actually I listened to what you said about G-Box Mall, and the first thing that comes to mind is a similar company that we work with, and that does this logistics. But another thing that I think that this is an opportunity for us. It's not a threat; it's an opportunity. I would like to get the contact of G-Box Mall and to maybe work with them, because we can help their customers and we can help G-Box Mall as well. The thing in these countries, and it's very good that you have the outside perspective, not just as an American, also as an Honduran, is to understand the difficulty of performing a global transaction, of taking your local card and paying with it to a merchant that is not in your country.
Yeah.
So it's obviously a little backward in countries like Honduras, Costa Rica, and even in Brazil and Peru, compared to what it is here.
Yeah.
And it's planned to be that way for many more years. And that's why we are doing so well in these countries, or expanding to countries that have the need in this similar solution.
And another challenge
Mhm.
that we found is U.S. market.
Mhm.
We are good with merchants here. They love it when they want to expand their reach internationally.
Mhm.
But when it comes to partnering with banks, it has been an uphill battle. And it's mostly because of the regulatory conditions. Since 2008, when Obama slammed down on the banks and the interchange rates and all that kind of stuff, which I think is good, frankly. I'm not going to make a political statement or anything, but I think it was good because they can get out of hand, especially with some of the hidden costs of credit cards. It was just prohibitive
Right.
pricing. The banks got slapped, and they had something called the Durbin Amendment that they had to deal with. And in a way, it hurt us because lots of federal laws were passed. KYC, are you familiar with that? Know your customer. You know, anti-money laundering. All those things were really. The banks had to really face those challenges. We have sort of an interesting scenario where we don't want to know about our customer. It hurts us in the marketing side because then we can't do the analytics as well, but from the KYC level, we don't know anything, so therefore there's no fraud. That's one of our big value props, you know?
Yeah,
But-
because sorry,
Yeah,
then
no,
interrupt
go
you.
ahead, go ahead.
I was reading that customers don't have to put their personal information. No,
Correct.
everything
Exactly.
is directly by your bank.
This
So
is one of our main advantages and
Yeah.
main disadvantages.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
like Barbara said, we do not collect consumer data, which is very good for customers. You're trying to avoid putting anything online.
Yeah.
I mean, you're trying to avoid with your address, your card number, and everything. We do
Mhm.
not require that. But when it comes to us to run the analytics or to
Marketing.
run like
Marketing.
run any type of a typical shopper,
Yeah.
a profile of a typical shopper, we cannot do that because we don't know who they are.
But we can offer the option for a customer to want to know more promotions and good
Right.
deals. So we have to have their permission for that. But going back to the challenge that we have with banks is that because of all the regulatory environment, they are very skittish and very reluctant to work with us.
Yeah.
Although we're talking to some of the biggest banks and they
Yeah.
want us,
Yeah.
but they just don't know how to kind of navigate through
Yeah.
the regulatory environment. So it's kind of like we have to get some sort of certification for them to feel better about it, and I think we're just gonna stay, for the
Yeah.
time being, with
Yeah.
where we're strong, and that's
Right.
Latin America and parts of Europe. Yeah.
Well, two more challenges in the U.S. is that it's way more, and probably the only one in the world, credit card centric. Here we have credit card.
Highest penetration.
Yes, here credit card when you pretty much make the purchase now, paying later, so to speak. The way our system works, the way our payment process works, is that the customer literally push the payments from his bank account. You can imagine it as if the difference from credit card to safety pay is so credit card would be pulling your wallet out of the pocket and handing it to the cashier for him to take the money out of your wallet. With safety pay, you pull in the wallet out of your pocket, you take the money out of